Cows. Cows. More cows. Alright, I may have exaggerated a bit. Dorset isn't that full of cows, but they did cause me to stop my journey eventually. You can learn more about this in this episode of Walks and Pubs. Today I'm starting at Wareham rail station and will walk towards the River Froom on the other side of the town. From there I'll walk to Corfe Castle, the famous medieval castle ruin of Dorset. One of the first things I noticed is this sign that reads the ancient Saxon walled town. Wareham has a 1-mile waltz walk that leads around the town, but I'll save that for another time. Today I want to walk a part of the Purbeck Way. To get there we need to walk south towards Wareham town centre and cross the River Piddle. It's quite a unique name for a river, isn't it? The name is believed to come from an Old English word that means marsh, fen or boggy ground, and it has given its name to several villages along its course, such as Biddle Hinton, where the Piddle Brewery is located. It's all starting to make sense. Just a few yards from the entrance to Wareham town centre, there's an old Saxon church called St. Martin on the Walls, and it's located near the ancient town walls. This charming market town boasts a rich history of more than 2000 years, and it offers a variety of shops, cafes, pubs, restaurants and tea rooms. After crossing Wareham Bridge, I took a seat by the River Froom to admire the views of the bridge, Wareham Quay, and the town with its beautiful churches and old buildings. At this point the Purbeck Way begins, and from here it is a 6-mile walk to Corfe Castle, which is what I'll do today. From there one can go on for either 3¼ miles to Chapman's Pool near Worth Matravers, or for 6¼ miles to Bella Down near Swanage. The Froom River is navigable from here in Wareham up to its mouth at Poole Harbour, from where boats can continue out to the English Channel. The river is Dorset's second longest one and has a footpath that follows its course, known as the Froom Valley Trail. It's an important breeding ground for salmon, and its abundance of freshwater life attracts many birds. Now it's time to wave goodbye to the Froom. Whilst I was giving you the information about the river, we've passed the local yacht club's clubhouse and arrived at Rich Village. From here we'll continue to follow the Purbeck Way towards Stowborough Green and Corfe Castle, passing through Rich along the way. Eventually we have reached the village of Stowborough Green. At the end of this street there's this footpath which leads through a small wood until it encounters the A351. It is essential to be extra cautious in this area and pay close attention to traffic when crossing. Here we are on the other side. And now the path will not take us straight on, but left into Stowborough Heath. The heath is a site of special scientific interest and home to many bird and insect species. In the distance we can see the Purbeck Ridge, where I'll be walking later today. This was also the place where I encountered my first cows of the day and they peacefully watched me. The end of the heath is marked by rail tracks that need to be crossed. That I closed the gates behind me goes without saying. After a few yards of walking past a couple of houses in the woods, there's another beautiful bit of heathland and I'm going to be happy to walk through this one as well. This time it is Creech Heath, which comprises around 200 acres of semi-wilderness, lily ponds, woodlands and wide vistas of open heathland. From this elevated point it is possible to look as far as Poole Harbour in the northeast And if I'm not mistaken, the part that we're seeing is the Wareham Channel, with the Poole suburb of Hamworthy and the town of Upton on its shores, which is around 6 to 7 miles in the distance. We can also see Wareham in the north. We've arrived in Fursbrook, and we're lucky to see another one of the old red telephone boxes that are still standing. Some of the remaining boxes are still being used as intended, while others have been converted to serve other purposes. Not far from the phone box there's a sign pointing to the Blue Pool, which was once a large clay pit and is now known for the ever-changing colors of its water. Many of such abandoned clay pits can be found across Purbeck, and the extraction industry remains an important part of the local economy. However, today we want to get to Corfe Castle. At the end of the street we need to go straight on, into a small forest, to then find ourselves in another heath, and after that arrive at another forest, which almost feels like a small jungle. This is a great place to enjoy quietness and listen to the sounds of the birds, insects and the water rippling through the brooks and the boggy soil. Leaving the mini jungle behind, we soon get to this meadow near a campsite and to this incline which leads us to a path along the Purbeck Ridge. After 3/4 of a mile we arrive here. I'm at Corfe Castle. What an impressive view! Dating back to the 11th century, Corfe Castle has played a significant role in England's history. Originally built shortly after the Norman conquest of 1066, it served as a defensive fortress and royal residence until Queen Elizabeth I sold it to her Lord Chancellor in 1572, who fortified it further. Over the years, the castle witnessed key historical events, including the English Civil War, during which it was partially demolished by parliamentary forces in 1646. Located in a strategically important position on a steep hill, and halfway between Wareham and Swanage, the castle was designed to protect from invasion from the coast. It commands a gap in the Purbeck Ridge, through which the movement of people and goods could be controlled and regulated. The National Trust has been taking care of the ruins of Corfe Castle since 1982, and it can be visited all year round. There had been some time to take a short break at the castle viewpoint. As I was heading towards Corfe Castle village, I came across a herd of cows that were literally on the move. I maintained a safe distance and waited until they had walked past the gate that I needed to get through. That was my second cow encounter of the day. The next part of the journey takes us along a path that runs directly beside the castle hill, eventually leading us to the village. Here we are in Corfe Castle, the village that is being overlooked by the dramatic ruins of the fortress of the same name that we've seen from afar. This quaint settlement is constructed almost completely from the local grey Purbeck limestone. While many visitors will head straight to the castle ruins first, there are also a number of traditional pubs, tea rooms, cafes, restaurants and a small local history museum to explore. Visitors to the Corfe Castle Model Village will find a 1/20th scale model of the castle and the village as they were in 1646, showcasing how the castle looked like before it was destroyed. Additionally, the village has a railway station where steam trains and other historic trains of Swanage Railway regularly stop. The children's author Enid Blyton was a regular visitor to the area, and Corfe Castle was the inspiration for Kirrin Castle in the famous Five. Corfe Castle comprises two main streets, East Street and West Street, linked at their north end at the square, which is something that I've heard before. If they copied this from Corfe Castle or if it was the other way around remains a mystery for today. We're soon going to reach the end of the journey, which, as I mentioned before, had quite an unexpected conclusion. But before I passed through the fields of Corfe Castle and through Corfe Common, where horses were grazing. The views were fantastic, and actually I had planned to walk all the way to the sea at Chapman's Pool and then on to Worth Matravers, where I would enjoy a pint at the local pub. Unfortunately, at this exact point of the Purbeck Way, my third encounter with cows didn't go as smoothly as the previous two. An entire herd had decided to rest right in front of the gate I needed to pass through, and as there have been cases of people being seriously harmed by cows, I chose not to get too close, and looked for an alternative route. Unfortunately, I wasn't successful and ended up walking in circles. Frustrated and a little confused, I even forgot to take a picture of the naughty cows and walked back to Cove Castle to take the bus back to Bournemouth. Let's have a look at today's route. My journey started at Wareham rail station, where I arrived with the London Waterloo to Weymouth train. From there I made my way south to the centre of Wareham, crossing the River Piddle and passing St Martin's Church. A stroll along the main street took me to the River Froome, where I crossed Wareham Bridge and turned left to join the Purbeck Way. I followed the Froome until I arrived in Ridge, where the river bends to the left. I crossed through the village and shortly after arrived at Stowborough Green. Here I had to walk through a small forest until I carefully crossed the busy road. On the other side the path took me through Stowborough Heath. After passing a gate, I walked past a few buildings and encountered rail tracks. Shortly after that, I arrived at Creech Heath. Here I enjoyed the views of Poole Harbour and Wareham and continued my walk until I arrived in Fursbrook. Passing the red telephone box a little later, I turned left at the sign pointing to the Blue Pool. At the end of the street, another enjoyable and peaceful mixture of heath and woods waited for me. Next, I had to cross a meadow near a campsite and climb up an incline to get to a path along the Purbeck Ridge. At its end I was rewarded with glorious views of Cove Castle. I then walked along another path over another meadow where cows were grazing, and then walked beside the castle hill to get to Cove Castle village. I followed West Street for a short while until I turned left into a footpath between two houses and carried on through the fields and meadows of Cove Castle. Afterwards I walked through another part of the village, after which I arrived at Cove Common. I had to cross another busy road after that and carried on for a short while until the journey came to its unexpected end. From Wareham rail station to this point, this journey was 8.3 miles long. Back in Bournemouth I finally had my concluding pint, which I thought I deserved nevertheless. The good thing about this is that there will be another episode of Walks and Pubs where I'll explore the rest of the route, including Chapman's Pool and Worth Matravers. And that's it for today. If you enjoyed the video a lot, you could watch the episode again and count how many cows are in it. And if you've got the right number, I congratulate you. Well done. If that task isn't for you, maybe you'd like to leave me a like or watch another one of my videos. Please subscribe to see any future content from the next video onwards with a better image quality. Cheers and hopefully see you soon.